your headphones on, Beyond I Do.
Where's your hair?
It's in the back. Do I look like a
Hello,
boy?
I'm a little schoolboy.
Gang, gang. We're twins.
You're something, all right. Hey, are we rolling right now?
We are. Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Beyond I Do. Thanks for joining us.
Do I look like a boy?
Wow, look, Andy, that
I
video
look
was
like a
playing.
boy?
Your face is too cute. You can't look like a boy.
Yeah.
Very manly man.
Well, hey, when she's clipped and put on social media, we'll find out real quick because people will let you know.
Like,
Yeah.
what is that man child say?
What's that guy saying? So we'll know if she goes viral.
You guys will know. I don't look at not a single comment.
Yeah, well,
ever.
It's healthier that way.
Never do. So sorry for all you haters out there that are hating because you're hating on air.
Here's what I would love to know before we go into the show today.
Oh gosh.
I've been toying around with this concept. I would love to know everybody's input, but we also need the community's input too. Okay? Here's my theory. I love Beyond I Do, and I love the people that we get to speak to and reach and stuff like that. I feel like because this lives on a very, lack of a better term, global scale. Yeah. Not saying that we're like global, but like anywhere in the world can reach this podcast, listen to this podcast. Obviously, there are things that we filter through. There are certain conversations we don't have because maybe aware of our own position and role as church leaders and stuff like that. But I think that there are, a great deal of people, couples in relationships and marriages who maybe want conversations to go deeper or to get a little bit more granular where they're at specifically in their space of life. So I've been toying with this idea about us starting like some type of Patreon or something like that. Do you know what Patreon is, Ashley?
No.
Okay.
I got Patria.
No. Huh? Oh my gosh. Look, Alize's like, I think she's as dumb as me.
That little boy's dumb.
All right. So like Patreon is like, it's for people who have like YouTubes and social medias and stuff, and people basically subscribe into a community, and then the person who hosts the community, which is us and Beyond I Do, they like, oh my gosh, Pastor Diego's just walked by.
We put his
He's gone.
booger,
No, don't get him. Don't get him. Don't get him. I can't handle him right now.
Put his boogers all on the window.
I don't want to hear his input on this. And so basically what happens is we set the parameters of like, what the conversation. So here's what would happen kind of twofold is people subscribe. And like, obviously when you jump in and you subscribe, it brings you into the community. It lets us to continue to put resources into reaching people for the podcast. But ultimately it'll accomplish a couple things. Number one, it'll allow people, all of us, to be in a community kind of like messaging system. Mm-hmm. And so, couples may be struggling with date nights. They may be struggling with questions around babysitters. Hey, first time with a babysitter, guys got any tips or anything like that? Like you can engage within the Beyond I Do community. We all know that we're part of this community. So there's a certain already like belief and standard that we're in that community for. But I think we could also go a little bit more deeper in stuff that we really wouldn't do in this podcast because we know we're pastors, we know we lead a church, but there's like, man, I'd love to help more people when it comes to like their intimacy and having conversations about intimacy. And I wouldn't, I think we've done it before on this podcast, but not as deep as I would like to go because I think a lot of couples, I have discipled a lot of people and we've yet to have a conversation the way that we do with couples one-on-one. Right. Where we like really get into the weeds and on stuff. I think we could do that in that community because people are actually like wanting to be there. They're invested in it. Right. And then we could do some probably like some more like offer like Q&A videos where people could go really much deeper into that, whether it be intimacy or raising children that we would, because all the time we get questions and we take a lot of them. And then there's other ones that we just go like, oh, wait, we probably wouldn't be appropriate in a podcast.
Right.
I mean, we're not trying to, like make anyone seem bad about like divorce or, or maybe there's like certain, questions we get about certain stuff, intimacy or whatever, that like if we had a community and everybody's engaging, we'd feel much more comfortable talking about those things.
Yeah.
You and I can host, lives where we talk about subjects that are a little bit more granular and something that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing on YouTube or anything else. But if it's in our platform where we can control how long it lives, that no one could, grab it or whatever, but then what I would also love is within that community to have a chat just for men and a chat just for women, so that men are resourcing men and women are, and then obviously there's a big community, and then you could set how many chats that you want. So it's like we can also have a chat like on intimacy, we can have a chat on blended families, and we could start to create much more of like an enriched community.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I've been thinking about that lately.
I like that because I feel like like you said, there are times when we have these conversations where, like, if big topic, we can go into intimacy. Like there's things that we can say to our friends offline that we would love to share with online, but you know how some things are perceived or taken or only grabbed, and so we don't want to. We don't want to. Just be in that space where it's not safe as well, because a lot of people even say like, man, you guys are too transparent, and we're like, we haven't even got to the what? You ain't seen. So I think that can be a safe space and place to be transparent and have other individuals be transparent and be like, hey, you know what? Date nights suck. You know what I mean? And be honest, like, how do I do better on a budget? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love that.
Well, I mean, you and I work with like young couples too, and they've been like, what positions are on limit, off limits.
Yeah.
One couple, we married not too long ago. They told us like, hey, we think we're having sex too much. Right. And we were like, no such thing. Don't worry. This, don't worry. It's gonna slow down maybe,
Trust.
So, but it was like, it's like, we won't always commit maybe full episodes on here for it because, I know parents, listen to us, in their living room. And I always want to be aware that like could be young people. And obviously if we ever did an episode like that, we were fully qualified at the beginning. Like, hey, if you're around kids, don't listen to this one. But if we had like a Patreon, I would know right away, like we could really have real conversation. We're having it on here, but we get really deep. And also I don't ever want to have a conversation about that stuff that people aren't even asking for. So Patreon that community or whatever we end up choosing to use would allow us to like people actually input questions and conversation and be able to articulate. And then also from that, we could be like, oh, that's great. We'll do an actual Beyond I Do episode on that subject. Yeah. Or we'll say, we'll make that, but for this community only because of what we may need to talk about. Right. So that's just my thoughts.
Love it.
So here's the thing.
It's great.
We'll, I don't know. We just, if you reach whether leave comment on our pages. I know we have a lot of audio listeners and you can't comment, but if you're on YouTube and you listen to this, comment. If you would be interested in something like that, say, I would love, a Patreon,
we can get a
page.
We can get a post.
Right. Well, but I feel like what I want people to do is I want them to listen to this episode and go out of their way and tell us. Because I think if you just put it on a story,
someone's going to be like,
and you just say yes or no, everyone's going to be like, yes. But it's like, are you really interested in this? Right. And so if you're listening, go and DM our Beyond I Do page and be like, yes, I would love a Patreon, or whatever, a deeper community. And that'll give us an idea of like how many people are would be interested in it. And then after this episode airs for a couple weeks, we can actually do a post of like a yes or no, but no, I'm not even trying to blow it up. I don't even want to. I would honestly hate to have 1,000 people on it because I really want to be able to like let people engage and there's so many people that listen to this that have their own insights and experiences that I would love for people to learn from that maybe we wouldn't always do on Beyond I Do. And the reason why we may not have someone always on Beyond I Do is because someone may have a story, but you don't know how they communicate that over that microphone. Right. And for you and I, we do a lot of work to do these episodes. And, you know, I wouldn't want, you know, someone come on and they freeze up. Because that happens, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, not just having a story is good. It's like, can you also articulate a story? So us having a community would allow us, you know, no matter how you are with communication, if you could type it, you know, you could share and encourage other moms, single moms. So I just envision that, like with Beyond I Do and that community page, we could really build it out to be a resource for people.
Yeah, I like that. Get to work.
So, yeah, I got to figure Patreon. We need to find someone that knows Patreon, because I kind of downloaded it and looked at it, and I was just like, because I want it to look really good, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this. So maybe we'll go find an expert who builds out Patreons, which they exist.
Andy, get on it.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I got this. Relationship expert.
Andy's just happy I turned the air off on him.
Yeah. Was it on?
Yeah, he's sitting there in his astronaut suit.
Yeah.
I'm used to the cold in space.
Well, everybody, thanks for joining us today.
Yes, please.
For Beyond I Do, we have a video that it has been shared with us, and so it's about parenting, and so that'll be kind of the conversation for today, is to talk a little bit about parenting. So let's go ahead and listen to this clip and share our thoughts on it.
We are raising mentally weak children because we overdo for them. One of the concepts in the book I really love is, if you do too much for your children, you are increasing your self-esteem by stealing theirs. That we develop mental toughness by solving problems. So if my daughter would forget her homework at home, nobody's bringing it to school. If she didn't bring a jacket on a cold day, even though her mother told her to, nobody's bringing her the jacket. It's so important to, when a child says, I'm bored, rather than you fix it, just say, I wonder what you're going to do about it. And then...
Why are you laughing?
Because that's me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm raising... I'm raising spoiled kids, but but not doing things for them. That's the last thing I'm going to do.
Yeah, for sure. You and I have, different parenting styles, but we also have a lot of agreement, same style on certain things. And there, and I get where he's come from. I know where it can go on the extreme, but you and I would relatively more so agree with him than the opposite side, because and people get around us who are parents also. They're like, dang, y'all, like. Y'all are crazy.
Y'all are hard.
And our boys have a lot of privilege. Our boys go on iPads. They, Matthias already, he plays video games and all that kind of stuff like that. And he's 6 years old. But at the same time, like, if I cook them dinner and he's like, I don't want this, our response is what? You starve.
You ain't getting nothing else in this house.
Then starve. And he gets up and he's like, can I have cereal?
No.
Go eat that. Can I have, I'll settle for an apple or a banana.
Nope.
No, I don't care what, dad made it. You
Go
go eat it.
Eat.
And it, there's been times that he sits there for 30, 40 minutes. And then sure enough, that fork comes because that boy hungry.
Yeah.
And he starts.
Well, and that's the thing that we make him do too, even when
it
comes to dinner, is then you got to sit at this table with us.
Yes. Sit at the table. If we're watching something, we're gonna all watch it together. Sometimes we'll all be on our devices, and so it's not every single day, but majority of the time we sit at the table. If we watch something, we have a TV in our kitchen, so it's like we could watch something on the TV together. We'll all pick together, and if they're like, I don't want to watch this, I'm gonna go get my iPad. No, that's not what we're doing right now. And then it's, go ahead, go on your iPads, boys. It's been a long day. You've been in school. You were at soccer practice. You want to chill. Like, that's fine. Mom and dad will talk or go on our own phone. So,
even a prime example the other day where we have a sitter and I kind of told her how to do it next time because the boys were being picked up by Grandpa Diego and Thomas did not want to get ready. He was giving her a hard time. You and I were gone out for ministry, and she's like, Ashley, he's not. I said, then he gets left at home. Grandpa comes, and he's screaming and fighting to go with Grandpa.
Yeah.
But because she was the sitter, she rushed, got him ready, and I texted her. I said, next time, he stays home.
Yeah.
If you are going to give someone a difficult time, or if you're going to be rude, or if you're going to be disrespectful, you are not going to get the same opportunity if you would have been nice and kind. Mm-hmm. That reward that you now desire because somebody else has it, it's off the table.
Yeah.
But that was the same thing you even did the other day. It was you corrected me because Matthias told you, Dad, get my iPad, because it was upstairs. Mm-hmm. And he was downstairs. He said, Dad, get my iPad. And you said, it's not here. And I said, yes, his iPad's here. And he goes, and then you go, oh yeah, well, I'm not getting it. Yeah, you still come up here and get it. If you knew it was up here, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Come get your iPad.
And you were like, just give it to him. And I'm like, no, he's not.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's laying on the couch. He's got his feet up.
Yeah.
Like, and it's one thing if he had a long day, but I'm like, he didn't. He's done nothing today.
Kids don't
like,
have a long
yeah. Well, they do. They're in school all day and they go to activity. Even if you take a kid from school to Chuck E. Cheese to Sky Zone to home, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's
so
a lot day.
You think sometimes we think, our kids have bad attitudes or aren't listening without remembering. Even if you tell them, we gave you a good day, we took you to Disneyland. It's like, you did, but let's be honest. You took your kids to Disneyland because you want that experience as a parent and you want to give that to your children. And they may be excited about it, but you also have to know that Disneyland they're hyped up on sugar. They're having churros and Dole Whip. They're walking around all day, which they commonly don't do. They're in the sun. It's like, so you drove them to exhaustion.
Yeah.
Like, don't be surprised when they come home and either A, now they're in their space, so they start bouncing off the walls, or B, they're like giving you attitude, and you're like, you don't appreciate I just took you to Disneyland. It's like, no, it's a 10-year-old, it's an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
This is someone they emote like they've been overwhelmed, and overexposed all day. So keep that in mind. And so even in that stuff, that's sometimes what I try to keep in mind is like, well, what kind of day did we give them as parents? And then if I feel like we gave them an overwhelming day, then I actually become very not affectionate, but like you could say coddling, like, I'll get it for you, bud. Here, go lay down. I'm gonna get you a blanket. Yeah. It's not because I'm trying to overly like treat them like a prince. It's more so of saying like, hey, I know you had a full day. But then when they don't have full days, and it's like, do it yourself. Yeah. You come home. Yeah. Shoes go upstairs. They go in your bedroom. Mm-hmm. Don't ask for nothing unless you accomplish something. Mm-hmm. So Matthias knows if he wants $2 for Roblox for a new skin, what do you say? Dad, do you have any chores?
Yeah, and he'll be like, Daddy, I clean my room.
Can I go clean my room? Mm-hmm. And can I get $2 for a Roblox thing? Like, he knows. He'll come and negotiate at 6 years old and be like, because I don't just, and sometimes if it's a weekend or we're on vacation and he just asks for $4 a Roblox, I'm going to give it to you. So it's not always earned, but it's earned many times. Per majority of the time, like, you're going to earn it. And the older he gets, it's going to be, hey, read a book. Or, there's times that I'll say, you need to do 30 minutes on ABC Mouse on your iPad. You do 30 minutes, then you can do what you're asking to do. And we say, hey, Google, and we start the timer and all that kind of stuff like that. And so I think to what he's saying is, there's a lot of, rights and privileges and doing that we do for our children that I believe that the more autonomous you can make them, the more you can allow them to think for themselves, the more developed and potential for success. Because when you grow up, for the most part, you're pretty autonomous. You're on your own, and so you want to teach them that.
That's the one thing that we are trying to instill just with the boys in our home that they do on their own is they put their dishes in the sink, they throw their trash away, and that their shoes go upstairs. Yeah. And at 3 and 6. And
they take care of the dogs as best as they can. They let them in and out of their cage. Yes. They take them to the bathroom.
Yep. So it's not a lot because they're little, but it's the shoe thing Matthias has to a T. Yeah. And if I go, And
Yeah.
because he tries, and then he's like, okay, I'm right when we get in, he'll take them off, and then he'll look down, and then he'll go take them back upstairs.
For sure.
So those are things for us as parents that we found that and we say thank you. Right after they do. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for throwing your trash away. Thank you for putting your dishes. Because like he's saying, we're stealing their, what did he call it? We're stealing their not reward, but
I
their,
have to listen to it again. Yeah.
basically their affirmation. We're stealing their affirmation, like, good job. Because Matthias loves that. Good job, Matthias. And then he'll be like, Thomas. And so he'll get on his brother. So he's training his brother as well to where we're not having to say as much.
Yeah, he'll be like, Thomas, get your shoes.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah,
You know,
your shoes
like,
go
yeah.
upstairs, Thomas.
Yeah.
Or Mom, Thomas didn't take his shoes upstairs, and then Thomas running to go get his shoes to take them upstairs. So those are things with just respect that we just want them to know. Like, hey, it's respectful to have chores or be obedient and be disciplined in those 3 small areas. Obviously, as they get older, we add more. But one thing, even for Matthias, that he knows is school and his good work in school dictates his iPad. If school and I get a message from the teacher, that iPad is gonzo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if he does well, like, you will receive. If you're falling behind, you have homework, you have makeup work, you didn't do makeup work or you didn't pay attention at school, which he's done many of times, and he has to do homework, and I open his folder, you get nothing until this homework is done.
Yeah.
Sorry, you
Yeah.
wasted the teacher's time. Now your time is going to be wasted at home from the iPad that you wanted to be on or the video games. You did that.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do tomorrow? Go in there and do your homework, and you're going to apologize to your teacher for wasting her time.
Yeah. Or we'll say, hey, this ain't my homework. Put your homework in your backpack.
Yep.
Daddy, hold my backpack. Nope. That's your backpack. You hold your backpack. And now there's times I pick him up from school and I'm like, give me your
Yes.
backpack.
Yeah.
I'm gonna carry it for you, go run around or whatever.
Right.
But like, it's like, and we're not religious on this every day, but that would be the majority is we're saying, hey, put your homework in your own backpack, grab your own sweater.
Yeah, he's. I get a message from a teacher. He's cold. Too bad.
We told him to grab his sweater on the
Sure
way out.
did.
He didn't get it. I'm not thinking about that. We're putting dogs in cages and and cooking breakfast, and one kid eats one breakfast, the other likes another, and so we still in some ways push over parents or whatever. We still that way. Like each kid gets a different breakfast. We're doing different things, but also it's highly disciplinary. Other parents. One thing that we often get complimented on, and there's a lot of things that you and I do terribly, but one thing we get complimented on is like when other parents are around our boys, if we ask for their iPad or they have our phone, like say we're at a restaurant and they don't have their iPad, we didn't bring it, and we're starting to see they get antsy. We're trying to talk to other couples, so I'll just give them my iPhone. Say, hey, you can watch YouTube Kids, and then I'll be like, hey, give me my phone back real quick.
Yeah.
And give it right back. And parents are always like, man, when you ask them for their iPads, when you ask for your phone back, they don't fuss. They don't fight you. They don't pull it back. They don't kick. They don't scream. Like, they're really good with that. And I'm like, no, they're not.
Yeah.
Like, we have trained them
Yeah.
that if I ask for my phone back, or if I ask for your iPad, or I ask you to turn your iPad off and come sit down with us, or come to dinner, put your iPad away. If you tell me no, it's non-negotiable. Like, we don't negotiate. We don't say, hey, on the counter. We get up, we snatch that thing out their hands. And you and I have gone as far as giving Matthias a month with no iPad.
Oh, I think he had 2 months.
Maybe it was 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, there's been multiple times, but he's had a month from not doing well in school, and he's had weeks from fighting us with the iPad. No, I want it, or turn it off. And we've asked 3 times, and then we just go, hey, it's done for 3 days, or you're done for a week. And I tell people, Matthias has taught himself the days and the calendar because of how many times he's had his iPad taken away. And he wanted to learn what was the difference between 1 week or 3 days. And so the next day
Or
he'd be
Monday
like,
to a Friday,
he'd be like,
yes.
Dad, can you, so he'll have me like on my phone, pull up the calendar, and he'll be like, so that's 9 days away, or 10 days away. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And then the next day he'll be like, Dad, 8 days till I get my iPad back. I'm like, yeah, 8 days. But
what's sweet even
know.
about that is like he's even turned that into something sweet because you'll be on vacation, not vacation without me. Gosh, yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
You'll never, ever.
I'm trying to go on my own vacation
Right?
next week.
Bro.
Put my feet up.
Let me snatch that back from the air and swallow it. You ain't
I'm
going
gonna be
nowhere.
in about a month. I'm gonna be like, you know how the Lord led you to encourage me to take a vacation by myself?
When you went on a work trip, it was like 3 days. He'll count. And he does that too. Mm-hmm. So all from that counting from the iPad is turned into like, okay, Dad, it's Monday. Dad comes home Wednesday. I'm like, yes. He's like, okay, that's 3 days. Okay, Mom. And then, but sweet stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's educating him as well. And
another thing you do too is when he comes into the office, you make sure he greets everybody to say hello.
Yes.
You never miss that. And I think that's like that's died down. Like I don't see kids or like when you're
sure
when you're
it's
talking
so
and
rare.
just walk right in the middle of people. Like you guys are really good about like establishing that, and I think that's huge because when you get older and people do that, you're like, oh wow, like this person just greeted me. Like
yeah.
Well, and
or sometimes we'll do like parents will say like a kid starts, you're talking to an adult and then kid starts talking and then they interrupt and you say, you're supposed to say, excuse me. And then they say, excuse me. And then you stop and address. Like, we don't even always do that. We just go, hey, we're talking right now. Unless it's an emergency, like you need to wait.
Yeah.
Like don't just interrupt.
Right.
Like, don't just say, excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, don't interject, period.
Right.
Son, I'm not worried about your iPad right now. Like, if you want me to give it attention, like you just need to wait right now.
And they'll start learning the cues, like seeing the conversation and like, should I interject? Should I not? And I feel like that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. But what's big for us is, like, hello, hug, thank yous.
We're trying with kids with eye contact. It's so hard with them. And that's something like for me.
No, look at them. Matthias will be like, oh, thank you. No,
like, look them in the eyes.
Look them in the eye. Or say sorry.
You.
Look them in the eye, say sorry. You don't get to quietly say sorry. You don't get to look down and say sorry or even to appear. Like, look them in the eye and say sorry. And you see how hard it is. It's hard for all of us. We were all children once too.
And
even for adults.
That's one thing where like we could even talk in this conversation that you brought it up is there's some parents too who are like, my kids don't got to speak to everybody.
Yeah.
And so there's
they don't have to say hi to someone if they don't want to or whatever. And
so I was just never raised in that kind of setting because I was raised to just, you're a human being. I'm going to acknowledge you. Like you're living, you're breathing. Like if I'm on a walk and I'm out on a run or whatever, I don't care if I'm dying on my run. I'm waving at people. Like it's just acknowledgement that I find that just gives you more confidence to say, I don't care who it is. Like obviously stranger danger, right. But at a healthy point to just say, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I mean, well, and man, I hate to say it, but like sometimes adults are just the absolute worst. Like
no good morning, like
they
just say it and they don't say it back.
And I'm a person that's
I know, right?
And I'm a person that's in my looking down in my phone a lot, and the moment someone engages with me, like like I'll go into a store and they'll be like, hey, how are you today? I don't like, I'll be in places and people just like look at them and then like look down. And I'm thinking like, that person just greeted you and say hello. Right. Can you look at them and say something? So like for me, if I go somewhere and they're like, hello, welcome. I go, hi, thank you so much. How's your day? And if you know me, I'm not talkative. I'm introverted, more so like in my private life. I don't engage people in conversation, but I know enough that like, I'm not rude, like I'm going to walk into a place. And so for me, it's like, I don't want my sons, in the future, anything that my sons more than likely want to do career-wise, they're going to have to work with people. Mm-hmm. And if I want them to succeed and do really well at life, most of the time, it's like a lot of, billionaires. I think Elon Musk has said it. He said, I don't hire A students who had 4.0s because more than likely they're antisocial and they care more about their work than they do about the people around them. And more than likely, at work, a lot of your job is going to be working with people. Yeah. It's not just about handling a task. That's a portion of it. And so he goes, I want to know, like, man, give me a C because you were out partying, because at least I know there's some type of sociability, in you. And for me, like with our boys is like, I want to develop a socialization, a confidence in them, because more than likely it's a strong majority chance they're going to work with people one day. And I would love for them to know how to look people in the eye, love to know how to treat people with kindness, answer people.
Yeah, when we went camping. There was a general store there. Matthias wanted a popsicle. We did not want to get up. We were like, we're not getting up. If you want a popsicle, Daddy will give you cash and you will go buy it. Nice. Because we could see the general store. It's literally right there across. We could see the door open. We can see everything.
It's about 80 yards away.
Not far at all. Yeah. We said, if you want a pop, and he gulped. He was like, and Thomas was like, I'll go with you. Yeah, and Thomas was like,
no, the first time he went by himself.
He went by himself.
Yeah.
And then he was like, so the first time he went by himself, but Adam was like.
The rest of the 3 days, he wanted to go buy things himself. So I said, he's sick. So I'm like, what you're going to do is I'm gonna give you $10. Yeah. You're gonna ask how much it is. Numbers. So I said, find out, how much the pot, because he said, I want to bring Thomas one back too. So I said, let the man help you. Tell him I have $10, because I go, I don't know if the popsicle is $6, whatever. Ended up being $4. And so I said, ask the man, do I have enough money for two? And see what he says. If he says yes, take it. If he says no, come back out, let Daddy know. And then I said, and then make sure if it's less than $10, then he's going to give you change, and you need to put it in your pocket, come bring it back to me. And so, man, he went. At first, he's walking slow, and then he went and did it. And he didn't know I was right outside. I followed him, and I could hear him, and just in case something happened. So he thought we were there. And then, as I heard the man giving him change, then I ran back to the RV and acted like I didn't get up and move. And then he smilingly came back, and for the rest of the 3 days, he'd be like, Dad, I want can I go get chips? I want to go get chips. And luckily, for that trip, I happened to have cash, so. It's very rare.
Here's my phone, tap it.
Yeah, right. That builds the confidence, because I remember my brother or sister, one of them, one time it got to a point where they're like, I'm like, you have to make the call and make the order. Like you have to, because I would do it all the time. Yes. I don't know if it's an older child thing, but I'm like, okay, it's your guys' turn. So take the phone. They'd be like nervous. Well, what'd I say? Hello?
Yeah, I mean, you got 20-year-olds who parents still order for them at Chili's, like.
I'm like, no.
Oh, no. When my kids order, you tell them what you want.
Yeah. And outside of anyone who may have trauma or some type of neurodivergent, not to make fun of anyone like that, but there's just some people who've just never gotten enough confidence, to order.
Make your own call. Yeah.
If the waitress is standing there, what do you want? What do you want? Don't tell me, because that was just telephone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They'll be like, oh, yeah, what can we get them to drink? I'm like, Matthias, what do you want to drink? Mm-hmm. And then he'll look at me and he'll be like, oh, I want a Shirley Temple. And I'll be like, don't tell me. Tell her. Yeah. And then he'll be like, oh, Shirley Temple. And I'll be like, and he's, please. I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then it comes, and I'm like, pick your head up out the phone or the iPad, or, and sometimes they don't have anything. Yeah. And I'm like, you better tell them thank you. We're good, and they know, we're disciplinary. We try to be as strict as possible.
We try to do and they're like, please.
Yeah.
Or to Matthias, I know you guys have heard it, be like, what? I'd be like, huh? He'd be like, yes, Mom.
Yeah.
I was like, mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there new traditions that you guys have started that you guys didn't have? Because growing up, because you said, growing up, I'm used to, greeting people and saying hello. Yeah. But is there some things that you guys didn't do that now, with the boys, are like, no, now I want to do this? Is it expressing emotion? Is it affection?
Yes. So affection. My kids. I'm upset. You all know my kids are super affectionate.
That's what everybody always says.
Yeah, my kids. They'll hold your hand. They'll touch you. Want to be touching you. So super affectionate, which I absolutely love. The one thing though that I have to get better at as a parent is communication with my kids. Is because I don't want to be because I said so, instead of saying okay, why are you upset? Express to me, why are you mad? Yeah. I don't even care if you're mad at me. You can be mad at me because I said something. And so Matthias is starting to get in the communication, because the other day he got so upset because he thought Rooster was killing Maverick, and Adam had to talk to him, and he was like, I don't care, you're not listening to me, and blah, blah, blah. And Adam's like, no, honey, he's not, they're playing.
Yeah.
And sometimes when dogs play, they nip each other, and it may hurt. So he's not killing Maverick, he just nipped him. Okay, Daddy. And so he's like, are you upset? He's like, yes, because it scared me. Yeah. So we're trying to allow him to talk out his emotions too, just because I'm like, I was one to be like, be quiet. Their dogs are fine. And because I said so. You're not, get over your emotions. And I don't like that because it doesn't help the situation process to say like, no, honey, the dogs are fine.
Yeah.
It's okay to be upset, but understand that, not that you're upset for no reason, but just express your emotions and tell us and talk. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be better as a parent with talking to the boys. Cause you know me, I'm one to be like,
well, you elevate, you make it worse.
I
a
do.
lot of
And
times.
I just go there.
You get mad.
I get mad quick and I snap and I'm just
Yeah.
like, stop, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Drop
and
it.
they, you know, and
then
for
they,
a kid, then
and
they
Matthias
get
is like,
heightened
stop,
and
leave it
you
alone.
know,
Like he's like,
you know.
whatever. So I'm seeing a lot of them in me as well, where I'm like, they'll snap. Matthias will snap. Like when Pastor Fuego said, he was like, you see the reflection of you're reflecting your kids. It happened yesterday. Thomas kept bothering Matthias, and he was like, would you just leave me alone? And I was like, you can say it a little bit nicer. I'm like talking to myself while I'm saying it.
Yeah.
So it is that for me, as a parent, I want to be able to have my kids to be able to communicate with me in a healthy way, to where they're not shy, to where they're not timid, to where there's not like a pop off and anxiousness or aggression in that way.
Yeah.
That we are a safe place.
Yeah.
Adam comes down to their level at all times. There's only a couple times where he's just like, bro, your mom's getting on my nerves, so y'all are getting on my nerves.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm gonna take it out on you guys.
Like,
I'm gonna take it out on you guys because I don't want to get your mom
so
to
angry that it's driving me nuts because now
nuts.
Ashley's being, mean to me. Like, so I'm like, hey, I'm gonna whoop your butt if you guys mess around one more time.
Yeah.
Like because
Yeah.
Ashley's going like, what's going, and I'm like, all right, what,
Yeah. And
But-
now I'm curious, like, as far as chores and paying kids for chores, if you do that, I'm not judging you, but like, I didn't grow up doing that. It was just an expectation. But I'm curious on your take as far as like, okay, I'll give you $1 if you take out the trash. Like, are you guys, I don't notice that you guys do that with your
We
kids.
don't do it.
We do it through, because right now at their age, everything they want is like through their iPad. It's
Roblox.
like games and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that, because they want skins or like a new like sword in the game or whatever the game is that does Roblox or Minecraft. And so I wouldn't say that we have a weekly thing, but I do recognize that, like, in this age with availability of like Amazon and other stuff, that there's a desire for them to want resources to be able to do stuff. And so what I learned, one of the great things my dad did was, if there was anything big that I ever wanted, I did have to earn it, not with chores, but with some type of special project, whether it was at school or at church. So like, he used to, there was times he told me, I remember I wanted an Xbox, and he said I had to serve for 3 months every Wednesday in children's ministry in order to get the Xbox. And so I served every 3 months in children's ministry for 3 months. And then I liked it, and I just continued to do it. And so what I found he was doing was developing, discipline and character in me, but there was kind of a carrot in front of it.
Yeah.
And there was another time I wanted a specific bike when I was about 15, 16. And he told me for 4 weeks I had to sit in the adult service. And then each week I had to come up with like a little message on generosity of God. And I had to share it to the church on a Wednesday night. And what I found he was developing in me was confidence to public speak,
Yeah.
So people say, you're a great public speaker. It's like, well, my dad had me do it since I was 13, 14 years old and rewarded me on the other side of it. And so I think it's like whatever parent, take they wants to do. I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong.
Yeah.
I also think a family's economics does have to
Right.
deal with it. And so
Yeah.
if a family doesn't have extra resources,
Right.
then you're not going to get any
Money
money
we
for
gotta pay the bills with
yeah,
that.
it's like, man, that's, we don't have an extra $10 to give you for you to take the trash out. But if your family is economically at a place that you could do it, I think there's, just think about it as an adult, we're wired that way. All of us would stop
Right.
going to work if we didn't get paid no
Right.
more. So, you having your 13, 14, 15-year-old do that and then be rewarded to do chores to be able to, you know, have money. It's like we do that every day when we go to work, you know. The moment they, you know, they lower our pay, we start deciding, do we want to go somewhere else? So you know, I think that a reward-based system does have a healthiness around it, as long as it's done healthily.
Yeah.
And I also don't think that you know, kids should just get everything they ask for without doing some type of sweat equity for it. And so our boys are 6 and 3, but I for sure, like as they get older, 10, 11, 12, like they're not going to get anything big without earning it.
Yeah.
Whether it's backyard, go clean back, hey, go do this. But I'm also not of the belief that
It's got to be worse than what you did.
yeah, like hey, every Saturday you guys are up doing chores from 8 a.m. Like I grew up with friends that they would be up doing chores
Washing walls.
from 8 a.m.
8
till
a.m.
like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. There's character and do that if you want, but I know a lot of those kids grew up with like a lot of anger, you know, and still as adults,
probably.
you know, very upset at their parents for doing that. They didn't really feel like they had a childhood in some ways. Now, if you're in the outback farmhouse and your family has to farm to survive, then yeah, wake up at 4 a.m. and grind it out. But it's like when you're living in a suburban area or, you know, a city area where you know, like let your kids be kids. So we also plan to do that. Like make sure that they have fun and, you know, they ride bikes and have memories with friends and all that stuff. But also like you want to go to the movies or whatever, or you want to get a car one day, let's go 50-50, let's do whatever, you know, like, so I think my parents did a really great job with that kind of stuff. I started working at 16. My parents still really, you know, helped me out with a lot of things in life, but the reason why they did it was because I worked every day and I took home a paycheck. And when they told me to buy something myself, I bought it. And so then, they got me my first car and never made me pay for insurance until I graduated high school. And so there's certain things they felt, this is important. You're working hard. You're in school. We're not going to tell you to grow up super fast, you know, because the moment we need you to grow up, the moment you make working a priority when we really want you to have school a priority. And so they're really great things that they did with that kind of stuff that could be seen as spoiled on one end, but you know, I'm an adult now who has had multiple businesses and take care of my wife and my sons and all that stuff like that. And so they really did some great things, and more of my stuff, which we've shared more on, like Beyond I Do and Beyond the Letters, just how much my dad worked. And even when he came home, it was kind of him time, rest time, nap time, you know, all that kind of stuff like that. And so,
you guys are really involved with your kids.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I really took. They just, in terms of like instilling character and integrity and work ethic, my parents, they did great on us for that. You know, I just wish that, I had more of that personal relationship with my dad that I do have now, thank God. But I didn't really have it growing up. So that's what I'm trying to, when Ashley's trying to get control of her emotions and anger with that kind of stuff, I try to be like, Adam, get up, you know, like go sit with Matthias, go watch him draw, or they're in the backyard. You know, go hang out with them a little bit.
Or
go watch
events.
them ride the bike. Or make
really
it to every one of their games as much as I can. You know.
Thomas is starting soccer, so so that's gonna be spring season's gonna be interesting. He is.
I'm scared of him.
But it's like but we've made a lot of decisions, adjusted our schedule. I worked Saturday mornings, but now we started Saturday night services. Part of it was because season of life we are going in, boys play sports Saturday morning. Okay, let's start a Saturday night service then, so I don't have to record Saturday morning, and then a lot of other parents will identify with that and stuff. So like you just gotta be able to adjust, and also I think for us, we're in ministry, like you have to create work boundaries that go no, my boys and my family do come first. So I know it would mean a lot to do this, for something or whatever, but we're not going to do that because we're spending time with family, or it's not a great time, to get away with my kids because it's a busy season. It's like, no, they only have one winter break and one summer break. I got to take time off,
Yeah, and that's the thing that a lot of people always tell me, and I mean, I think people say it constantly, is these moments with your children young are so fast. Matthias is going to be 7 this year.
Yeah.
We're both 7-year-old. And it's crazy to think when you get your time hops of when 7 years ago when he was a baby.
I was just seeing a video of Thomas as a baby. I was like,
it happens in the blink of an eye, and it's one of those things where, though some people are like, oh, well, they're so young, they won't remember, but it's those moments that we remember, that we instilled, that they felt loved, that they felt secured, that they felt mom and dad see them, that mom and dad have no other priority, but we are their main priority. If we needed anything, our parents were there for them. So that's something that we try to continually do and be mindful of as we raise our children.
Yeah. And it is fast. So our babysitter, what was she, 22? Is she 22? So? About 22?
Yeah, I think so.
So I was her children's pastor, and I've known her since she was 6 at Matthias's age. And I used to, when she was 6 and in the first grade, and really probably up to 3rd or 4th grade, we would play a game. We call it backpack, and her and I still joke about it to this day. And she would jump on my back, and then I'd pull up like an imaginary pencil, and I'd put it in her nose. I'd say, "Oh, my pencil needs to be sharpened," and then she'd give me her nose over my shoulder, and then I'd, "Oh, thank you, backpack," and I need an eraser, and she would pull it. "Oh, here you go." And so she was my talking backpack. She's 22 now, watching our sons.
Wow.
Watching your kid doing backpack.
Yeah. And it's like, I legitimately have known her since she was in the first grade, and now she's in her teaching credential, and so it's like it goes fast. Like even seeing her like hanging with the boys and take care of the boys, it's like, wow, I've known her since she was 6, and she's a woman now, and she's helping watch our kids, and like that moment feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, and she played my little sister in a play we did one year, and she was probably in the 4th or 5th grade by then. And her mom recently told me she has a picture of it, which I'm trying to get a hold of. But it's just, for me, I look at that, and, great thing for us is like we've been in one area and, for really my whole life. So I get to see people through, I have youth students who are now, parents with, children and all that stuff. And you just go, man, it goes so fast. And so I'm aware that, like, one thing I am aware is with our kids, it happens so fast, because I still see people that I've known since they were in elementary school that are now married or have children or whatever, that is just so surreal. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm only in my 30s. So it's like most people say that when they're in their 50s or 60s. Like, I can say that because I did children's ministry and youth ministry. Like, I can say that in my 30s that I know 6-year-olds who are now in their 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are doing a great job. I mean, I see your
schedules.
schedules.
Thanks, Nance.
Yeah. So I'm like,
she sees what?
Our schedules.
Oh, so I'm like, how do you have a whole husband?
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you this though. So yesterday she comes to me and she comes to me. She's so cute. She comes to me. It was after service, right? Service was done. She was like, "Hey, Ashley." I was like, "What's up?" She's like, "Just so you know, I have access to this email of Adam's and this email of Adam's." I said, "Don't worry, I don't send nudies to those emails."
I was like, just so you know, I don't know. But I was like, just
Nancy's going through my email, and then it asks like the permissions, like, "Oh, do you want permission to the photos, documents, or whatever?" And Nancy's trying to like select, and I go, "Just press select all." And she's like, "Oh, are you sure?" And I'm like, "There's nothing in all those." Like,
and I'm not gonna be. All I'm doing is for expenses.
Yeah.
But I was like, let me just give her the heads up.
Like, girl, bye. I was like, I do not care.
What y'all are doing?
Right. And mind you, today of all days, if you didn't tell me,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I got a tech background. Trust me. I
figured. After that, I was like, he's probably got another. That's funny. This is a good one.
Well,
good.
yeah.
Cheers,
Well,
man.
everybody, thanks for listening to the
Yeah.
episode. Just always remember, chew the hay, spit out the sticks. If we
Yeah.
said something that you do different or disagree with, or you have a different experience,
Right.
really, truly, to each their own.
Yep.
We just podcast here is to create conversation. Allow perspective to happen. And so just because this is our way doesn't mean it should be your way. Just because it's our style doesn't mean it should be your style. Do what works for your family, do what works for your conviction. And, we'll appreciate you joining in.
Yeah, absolutely. And let us know again if you do want
A more private community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments.
Yes.
All
Peace
right,
out, everybody.
Bye.